Okay, here we are live. It's Thursday night, and Beef, what's for dinner?
Chipotle.
All right.
Grab and go.
Sour cream.
And probably the funniest part of this show is even before we go live, because JP has been regaling us with the glamorous life of a of a beat writer, sleeping in the car, all those kind of things. So, JP, besides sleeping in the car at the ACC baseball tournament, what's happening?
Hey, I'm in search of a nap. Other than that, it is. That's the biggest thing happening right now.
Well, here's what we're going to do. Beef has told me he's going to go light on Tennessee and Charlotte tonight, so we'll try and get out of here in 20 or 25 minutes or so. But exciting times for Clemson baseball. I was thinking about this today, guys, when we were texting back and forth. It's been a long time since I remember the excitement around Clemson baseball. There was some when they won the ACC in Monty Lee's first year. Seems to be a different level. Perhaps the 16-game winning streak has something to do with that. I saw even Mr. Beef commented on the prices of the tickets at the Clemson Regional this weekend. I guess that was on the secondary market, Beef? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, that was – I don't even know where the tickets were, but I was looking for myself at the off chance that I could get up there as well, and they didn't look so bad. So I think that was a one-off, but they really – obviously I think you could have bought tickets if you were an IPTAY member for $120 or $60, I guess, for one ticket for the entire 7 games. So Two tickets, $120. That wasn't bad, but then secondary market's probably $45 to $50 right now is what I've seen. So not terrible, but that one ticket that I saw – I don't know who expects to get $375, but
for one game.
God bless them. The championship game, it's like $350 or $375 or something like that.
Yeah, it might not even be Clemson. This is the Lipscomb Regional we're talking about tonight.
I thought about buying tickets and then turning around and see how much money I could make. Being a jerk that way, just not even charging a lot, but if Clemson loses game 1. How do you price it? I don't know. So I decided against that, and I'll just
you price it like you price it by putting it under the windshield wiper of some car in the parking lot. I
also don't want to screw people over. That's not right.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of excitement around Clemson baseball. We talked about it. 16 straight wins, 43-17, number 4 overall seed, number 6 in RPI. Before the season and during the early part of the season when there were struggles, I was joking about I don't know if they were going to be 14-42 or 42-14. Had no idea they would come close to that second number and actually exceed the wins. Just a crazy ride for this Clemson baseball team. I'm old. I've seen a lot of Clemson baseball. It's been a long time, probably since the Khalil Green days, that I remember a run like this. JP, your take on the last 16 games?
It's been fun, man. You touched on it earlier. It's fun to go back to the ballpark. This team's fun to be around. They're very loose, very, very, very free, playing very relaxed baseball, all smiles all the time. It's just fun to go back to the ballpark again. There's an excitement in there, something that I've not felt, not even in Monty's early days when they hosted a couple of times when they had the national seed one year. Feels a little bit different this year than even then.
Absolutely. Now, since the last time we didn't have a show last week, you were sleeping in your car. That would have been a great show, by the way. The Tigers swept North Carolina 3 games. They beat Virginia Tech, Boston College, North Carolina again, and Miami in the ACC tournament. Scored at least 10 runs in 3 of those 4 games. Are now number 6 in the RPI, the number 4 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Beef, the last 16 games and the whole year. It's got to be incredible. I know you're a long-time, big-time Clemson baseball fan.
Sorry about that. It's always something with me. It's been a lot of fun these last 16 games, really the whole season. Honestly, it has. I know they had a little bit of trouble at the beginning, but you could see this team take on that personality of their head coach, and he believed, and that belief obviously rubbed off on the team. They've been getting really good starting pitching for the most part, outside of a couple really good pitching, which was outside of the starters on the back end have been really, really good. If one guy starts to falter, another guy picks him up, and it's just been great. It's been a lot of fun. There is some excitement, and that's what I was saying about breaking me before. I think I was on mute, but when this team goes down, there is no panic. I'm panicking from the TV, watching the TV. Like I turned it off for a minute at the Miami game when they took the lead, but you just saw the Clemson batters. They just went and attacked the next at bats, and they had good swings, and they just kept battling and ended up being a laugher of sorts.
That filters down to the fans also. It filtered down to me. They had that 3-0 lead at Miami. They lost the lead. I left it on and went outside to the garage. No big deal. Was doing whatever out in the garage. I was confident. I knew they were going to – I didn't know it. I felt like they were going to come back. They were going to be okay. I didn't know if they were going to win, but I knew I felt like they were going to be in that game. And that, I think, JP speaks to just coaching again. We've talked about it every single week here, but they are just coaching their tails off and coaching this team and providing them with confidence and putting the right people in the right situations. It seems like every game.
Yeah, I think that confidence word is the key. This team is playing with a high level of confidence. It doesn't matter if they're down, if the ball game's tied, if they're up, whatever. They just remain very even keeled, and like you said earlier, there's never any panic. I had kind of resigned myself to the fact in that championship game that maybe that winning streak was coming to an end, and kind of I had already convinced myself that, hey, maybe them taking a loss here is a good thing. Maybe you get the taste of it again before you go into regions. But here they come with the big explosive end and 2 home runs. They just never quit coming at you. And it starts at the top of the lineup and goes all the way down to the 9-hole. There's no easy outs. I mean, they just always keep coming.
When Bertram hit that home run, I knew it was going to be a good day. Billy Amick, 418, 12 homers, and 58 RBI. Here's a crazy thing. 58 RBI and 158 at-bats. What the heck? Cam Ketterell, 386, 6 homers, 43 RBIs, 24 stolen bases. Will Taylor, 362. Cooper Engel, 336. Caden Grice is back over the 300 mark with 16 homers and 63 RBI. What a turnaround for that guy this year. Riley Bertram, as I mentioned, his first home run. Austin Gordon had 6 shutout innings against Boston College. Caden Grice had 7 strong against North Carolina. Kind of a all-staff game against Miami in the championship, but everybody played a role. And that's what I love about this team. Everybody's getting a chance and playing a role. They're giving different guys chances in right field. It doesn't seem to bother them. Creighton came through. Creighton came through the other day. Just everybody seems to be contributing, and that makes it fun, Beef.
You caught me again on mute here.
I didn't do anything.
It really does make it fun, and like JP said, from 1 to 9, this team can hit. It's just been great. Literally, there's no hole. And I how many times have I said it over the course of the last 5 weeks? The consistency in the lineup is great. Even when they move Cooper Engel from right field to catch, and they throw Crichton in right field, or whoever it may be, it's been him recently. You put even Jacob Jarrell, who's hitting it 2-something. But every at bat he battles and he hits the ball hard. I just love this lineup. I think this is a really good, dangerous team. And I know our feathered friends at the Midlands don't think we're going to make it out of the regional, but this team's as dangerous as anybody right now.
Well, I think they have their own problems with a camel.
I hope.
With the camel. JP, just as I mentioned, as Beef alluded to also, that everybody's contributing, whether it's Willie Weiss throwing an inning, or Ethan, or I forgot who started the first game, but I was questioning that with you guys on the text. Didn't throw for long. Yeah, but he didn't throw for long, but he contributed, right? He felt like a part of the team. They seem to have a way of making everybody, giving everybody the opportunity to contribute, and it's working.
Quality depth on that pitching staff. something a month into the season we did not think they had very much of. That bullpen looked like it was in shambles. They were missing a guy or two. He was out injured, including Ryan Ammons. We hadn't seen Rob Hughes yet. As this season has progressed, the deeper we get into it, the more quality depth they have built. And it is legit quality depth. There are a lot of guys out there that they trust, that they know they can turn to, who can go and give them an inning or get the big out when they need it. I mean, has it been perfect? No, this is baseball. It's never going to be perfect. This is the sport where you get humbled in a heartbeat. But by and large, this bullpen has come through over the last 5-6 weeks of the season, and it's going to have to continue to do so if they are going to win and advance past this regional. Because after you get past Gordon and Grice, Darden's been up and down. He's been, one of the weekend starters for weeks now, but he's been up and down. They've used a bunch of different guys in that starting spot for midweek games. So there's not really, Darden's the third established guy, but there's not really a fourth established guy. So, I mean, they're going to have that quality depth, and that bullpen is really going to have to, or on that pitching staff, shall I say, is going to have to step up and deliver if they are going to get out of this thing, because you can't rely on just 2 starting pitchers.
And I think the ACC tournament may have set them up for that a little bit by requiring 4 starters in 5 days. I think they had 1 day off, so 4 starters in 5 days, and they made it through it. Beef, what's your take?
Yeah, that's my only concern about this team. Literally, is the depth of starting pitching. I think once if you can, God willing, get to Omaha, I mean, that's what it takes. You're going to have a bunch of Johnny Holstaff games up there, so you just need some fresh arms. So that's a little longer over the course of a week, but this being a course of, it could be 4 games, 5 games, whatever, 4 games, I guess it could be. It's going to test Clemson. That's my only concern. I actually love Darden. I know he has been up and down, but he gives them some quality innings. As long as he can keep it down to under 3 runs, I think that's okay, because it's usually been Darden and then Clayton, and it just seems like that's a good combination of starter to first long reliever. So, but other than that, if this team will go as far as Gordon and Grice.
Hey, Beef, I didn't mean to tell you you're wrong, and I don't mean to correct.
I love it.
But Beckett said that nobody's going to Omaha after this weekend. I watched JP's video today, and he said nobody is going to Omaha after this weekend. So you're jumping the shark a little bit.
I am.
Beef, talk to us about Lipscomb and a little bit on Charlotte and Tennessee.
Sure. Lipscomb. It is the Lipscomb Regional. If you've followed JP or anything like that. 36-24, coached by Jeff Forehand, who Eric Bakich also said he's very, very good friends with. 17th season. They won a lot of good games. Notre Dame 2 times. They beat Liberty twice. They had a midweek game win against Arkansas. So this team can play. I don't understand how the Atlantic Sun Conference tournament works, because apparently there's two pools of 4. They play round robin. Lipscomb lost their first 2 games, somehow makes it into the semifinal, and then wins the thing. So it was crazy to see when I was doing a little research on that. Anyway, they are absolutely led by this Logan Van Treek. He's a left-hander that is going to start for Lipscomb this weekend. He's the one that's getting all the press, all the pub from all around the regional. 101 strikeouts and 13 walks and 82 in the 3rd innings. He is 8-4 with a 3.50 ERA, but these guys can also hit it a little bit as well. Team average is only 257, and they're really led by Trace Wilhite, who's their leader. He's hitting 311. He's got 17 home runs. They also have their catcher who hits in the 5-hole, Austin Kelly. He's got 21 home runs. And their leadoff guy, Caleb Ketchup, has 30 of 35 in stolen bases. You know I love stolen bases. They've stolen 99 bases, only been caught a handful of times. All right, more than a handful, maybe 28 times with quick math. This is a good Lipscomb team. I think Clemson can handle them. They really got to you're going to see strikes. So hopefully this team will hit strikes. And this team has been known to hit strikes, not chase any pitches from a very good Atlantic Sun pitcher of the year in Logan Van Treek. As far as the other 2 games, Charlotte, we've seen them before this year, 34-26, 17-12 in their conference, led by Robert Woodard. I mean, the only guy that, well, not the only guy, but the guy that jumps to the top of the page is Cam Fisher. He's their leader. He's hitting 352, and I think he's either tied for the lead or in the lead in the nation in home runs with 30. That's a lot of home runs. They got a couple boppers over 10 home runs: Jake Cunningham, Blake Jackson, Austin Knight. And then, of course, their pitchers, Clemson has seen 2 of them. They've seen Miles Langhorne and Hale Sims, but their number one guy is really this Wyatt Hudpole. He's got 118 strikeouts, 26 walks, and 97 in the 3rd innings. That's a lot of innings so far this year. And then finally, Tennessee, who every Gamecock's favorite team this weekend. Tennessee led by Tony Vitello. He's the dirtbag of all college baseball coaches, as he was called last year on multiple occasions. This team can play. They're 38-19. They're not very good on the road. That's what we've heard all week, 4-12 on the road. Led really by Jared Dickey, hitting 343, 12 home runs. They got a bunch of guys with multiple double-digit home runs. Griffin Merritt's got 17, Blake Burke 15, Zane Denton 12, and really led on the mound by Chase Dollander, 107 strikeouts, 25 walks, and 73 in a 2/3 innings. There's a lot of strike throwing this weekend. So Clemson's got their work cut out for them. It's a pretty good, daunting regional, but I think they can do it. Comparing the numbers between the teams and Clemson's numbers, I know it's just the game isn't played on paper, but this is a good regional. But I think Clemson can handle it. I really do.
Cool, because I'm going to ask you in about 3 minutes and 12 seconds for your prediction. I've got it planned out. So Clemson at Lipscomb Friday, 1:00 Eastern Time on ESPN Plus, not the Spurtle Network, just a cousin of the Spurtle Network. I did check the weather today, fellas. It looks like there was 0% chance today for rain tomorrow. Of course, that could change. We know college baseball, if the wind blows hard, they change the schedule. So scheduled for 1:00, then Charlotte and Tennessee at 6. The losers of both of those games play Saturday at noon. The winners play Saturday at 6. That is the schedule. Check your weatherman, check your apps, do everything, because we know how that goes when Jason Preacher is in Clemson. It usually involves rain on the way and while he is there.
I have been here for 3 days now, not a drop.
Oh, okay. There's a cut. I'm gonna cut that one out and post it on social media when the deluge happens. Okay, fellas. Time for your regional predictions. JP, you're up first, my friend.
You know, the key in this thing, 2 keys. I think Clemson needs to stay out of the losers bracket. You don't want to put that much pressure on that pitching staff. You don't want to tax those arms that much. Stay out of that losers bracket and keep the ball down, man. All three of these teams rely heavily on the home run. All 3 are ranked in the top 26 in home runs in the country. They mash like Beef touched on a minute ago. Tennessee's got a lot of big boppers in that lineup. Lipscomb's hit over 100 home runs as a team. So you keep the ball down, keep it in the park. I think Clemson's going to be all right. One thing to watch, Austin Gordon, you know, he's been prone to giving up the long ball this year, 17 of them. But only 4 of those have come since Florida State. He's been much improved in that regard. And while I didn't go back and look it up, I meant to before we did this. I just ran out of time. But I want to say most of those 4, maybe all 4 of them, I can't remember, but at least the majority of them, I want to say, have been solo shots. And if you're going to give up home runs, give up solo shots. But I think Clemson's going to get out of this thing. I think the drought ends. I think we're going to be playing baseball here again next weekend. We'll see who the opponent is, but I think Clemson wins this regional. I don't think it's not the easiest, but it's not the hardest. I think they got a pretty decent draw. Keep that ball down, keep it inside the ballpark, and you'll move on.
I also hope Clemson stays out of the losers bracket, obviously, but I am insanely curious about how they will react to their first loss in 3 or 4 weeks. So whether that comes in the first game, second, third, or doesn't come at all this weekend, comes next weekend, or maybe even in Omaha. I'm just curious how they react. So, Beef, your turn. What's your prediction?
April 28th, last time they lost, April 28th.
Wow.
I also think that my Uber bias is showing again. I think Clemson does come out of this regional. I think when I saw it initially, I immediately thought of Tennessee last year, even though they didn't get out of their regional last year, but how good they were, how good a coach Tony Vitello is. I think they're still good, but they got their hands full, I think, with Charlotte too initially. It's going to be a battle. If Clemson can win against Lipscomb game 1, I think it's smooth sailing. Exactly like JP said. Stay out of the losers bracket so you don't have to be extra juiced up and every mistake is magnified. Stay out of that losers bracket. Give yourself a chance that it's to be beaten twice at the end, and hopefully Clemson gets out. I'm predicting Clemson getting out of this.
All right, I'll say the same thing. I think Clemson gets out. I think they're just on a roll. As I just mentioned, how they react if they lose a game will tell me a lot. It's been so long, I don't even know if they remember what it's like to lose, even though the social media says they do remember where they came from. So we'll see. I also picked Clemson to get out of this regional. Jason Priester's work, you can find that at allclemsontigers.com, and, of course, all over social media with the videos of Eric Bakich and the players today. JP, you said before we went live you were also working on some football stuff this weekend. What's going on in that realm?
Yeah, I'm juggling football and baseball this week. Spent some time at the indoor facility, moseyed over to the baseball facility, and back to the indoor facility today. Dabo's high school camps have been going on, kicked off yesterday. 2 sessions yesterday, 2 sessions today. Got write-ups on both days already up. I'm going to put out a list tonight of the official visitors coming in this weekend. Bunch of new offers going out today. Going to write those up. So recruiting, and baseball.
It's June the 1st, JP, so people are going to start expecting to see some sunglasses soon. So I won't ask you here live, but I'm just telling you what the people are. Ooh.
Before the middle of June.
Before the middle of June, you heard it here first on the Clemson Baseball Show.
That's easy to say, though, with this weekend. They got that big official visit this weekend, and people are, when they don't have 5 or 6 commitments by Monday or Tuesday, people are going to start to panic. They don't realize these kids aren't going to commit on the spot, and most of them's going to take at least 2-3 more visits, and they'll start to trickle in slowly over the next month. But there is one guy that's already set a commitment date. 2025 guy. He did it very quietly. I didn't even realize it until he told me last night. 2025 running back Gideon Davison. He's announcing on June the 12th. Told me last night that he put out a top 10 a few weeks ago. Told me last night he's down to 3, but he's not telling anybody who they are. He's keeping that to himself. He's going to announce at a football camp up there in his hometown on, I think it's June the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. I got a feeling Clemson, for the second year in a row, might end up with their running back early on in the recruiting cycle.
Nice. Beef, I love the props. Don't know what you're going to do next week if Clemson makes it to the regional. But I am guessing you and your cohorts have found some geniuses on message boards. And
taking the week off this week. We're taking the week off, but we'll find them next week with the regional and things.
Oh yeah, there will definitely lots of SEC teams playing this weekend. There will be some geniuses. There will be some geniuses out there. All right, guys. JP, get some rest. Beef, you too. You got a flight early in the morning. Thanks to both of you for joining me. I appreciate you guys. I know you're tired and worn out. Appreciate the 20 minutes. Jason's work can be found on allclemsontigers.com. For Jason Priester of allclemsontigers.com, Casey the Beef Cregan, message board genius, and the Choppin' Beef, which I haven't had a chance to listen to yet. 2 great podcasts. I appreciate both of you. Have a great afternoon or evening, fellas. Get some rest, and hopefully we talk next week about Clemson baseball in a super regional. Later, guys.
Go Tigers.